Now I have fused my ginkgo leaves to the background fabric before I come to the sewing machine. This process actually killed two birds with one stone in that it fused my applique shapes, but it also heat set my colored pencil highlights at the same time. Now I'm still just dealing with my quilt top, and what you see me doing here is free motion machine embroidery, which is purely decorative stitching to add more interest and texture to my ginkgo leaves. Can you see that I'm stitching what looks like long worm-like shapes? These are long, almost tubular structures that travel vertically, and they create a sense of lines splaying from the stem line. This kind of stitching work really creates an illusion or sense that we have veins branching, but it's doing it in a much more abstract way. This is really fun. Can you see how the light water wash we applied has gently blended our colorful highlights into the background fabric here? You know, I really must tell you that as I was stitching this, I was so moved by the lovely colors and texture of the fabric that I was moving underneath the machine needle. It is moments like this when I can see all the parts of my work coming together, the singeing of the silk, the colorful highlights I added, the embroidery we're doing right now, that my heart just gets so full with the exhilaration of quilting. This is such a wonderful hobby. Now, because those ginkgo leaves are fused, you don't need to use any stabilizer for your free motion embroidery, but I want you to notice something extra I did here because you might want to try this yourself. Can you see all the pins outside the ginkgo leaves? Those are actually holding a polyester interfacing behind the ginkgo leaves. This was not necessary, but I thought I'd throw it in because I want to give my leaves a bit more body. Think of this as kind of a mini trapunto maneuver. Once the free motion embroidery is completely done, you want to cut away all the excess interfacing, and this is what the back side of the quilt top will look like at that point. The next step is to baste my top with the batting and backing so I have a quilt sandwich that's ready for quilting. You can baste by any method you choose, with thread, with pins, or with spray, but make sure you do a thorough job of it. For me, spray basting works the best, and boy, does it go fast. I've loaded clear monofilament thread in my top needle and a smoke-colored cotton in my bobbin, and my first goal is to stitch all the way around all my fused applique shapes. I chose smoke for my bobbin because my background fabric is multicolored, so I figured smoke was a pretty safe bet. Now once you've finished stitching around all your applique shapes, this will make them puff out just a teeny bit. This is one way of assigning importance to certain parts of your quilt, because by making them stand out just a bit more prominently, you've made them more significant to the viewer. Once I've finished stitching around the perimeter of all the applique shapes, I then switch to a decorative quilting thread to quilt the background area. Now this is a fairly loose quilting design I'm doing here, so know that a dense quilting design would make the ginkgo leaves stand out even more prominently. I sure hope this tutorial has been helpful or inspirational for you. So now go on out there and try these new techniques and have yourself some real fun.